Well, the president has now granted clemency to 944 people during his tenure, which is more than the 11 previous presidents combined.
Today, First News has been covering the story of one of those 944, a local woman who got out of prison just a year ago and is spending her time helping others. On First News this morning, we introduced you to Shauna Berry-Scott and her criminal past. At noon, we told you how Shauna was granted clemency on her 20-year prison sentence.
And in our last hour, you learned about the Youngstown Star Reentry Program and how it helps returning citizens like Shauna readjust to life outside of prison. Now, First News reporter Cameron O'Brien live in the studio telling Shauna's story in full.
Hey again, Dave and Erica. I am so excited to share this story in full with you all. Shauna's story is one of courage and resilience and making the best out of a second chance.
I was probably the most unlikely person to ever be involved in drugs.
This is Shauna Berry-Scott. She ran the Dare to Dream charity here in Youngstown. In the 1990s, she lived in Westlake Terrace projects, where the crack cocaine epidemic was leaving adults and children hungry.
And I foolishly tapped into the underground market and started selling myself to try to take care of a lot of people around here who couldn't take care of themselves.
So, drugs eventually landed you in prison?
Yes, ma'am, they sure did.
Federal prison, to be specific. She was sentenced to 20 years imprisonment with 10 years supervised release. But then she was given a second chance by President Obama through the Clemency Project. She was released 10 years early, just over a year ago.
All I can do is tip my hat to him for giving me a second chance to try to do what I love to do better this time.
In prison, she came up with the New Freedom Project. It's an idea that stems from her past in community involvement, but focuses more on mental health and job training for ex-cons getting their lives back.
A core component of the program is going to be training in the construction trades. So we're going to be teaching them to be journeyman carpenters, roofers, painters, brick masonry workers.
She even had the building picked out, the old expo center off Belmont. But 3 months before she was released, it was auctioned off to someone else. She's still holding out hope.
And it still hasn't opened, so I was hoping maybe he would be open for possibly selling it.
Location aside, the goal remains the same, that in giving returning citizens a second chance, she can give Youngstown a second chance too.
Hopefully we'll be able to use the workforce that we develop here to help rebuild some of the slum and blight housing that we're plagued with in Youngstown.
Now, Shauna is writing grants for funding and working on creating a curriculum for the project. At 11 p.m., I'll introduce you to Lester Scott II, Shauna's son, and tell you how he's helping his mom make the New Freedom Project a reality. Live in the studio, I'm Cameron O'Brien. This is First News at 6.